27th, 2025. And we're back. Sorry about not being here for a few days. Actually, I had some little bit of issue here getting my episodes out, considering that I was called out on YouTube, or apparently somebody reported me for using non-politically correct language. Well, they lost that battle. So now I have your non-politically correct language, the ones who reported me, right here. It's called "fuck you, you rat-faced looking homo-repressed fuckhead." All right? I told you, I'm going to use fucking language that I want to use. All right? We're here to tell the truth. We're here to speak the truth. And we're also here to feel the truth. But let's put that on the back burner. So a lot of things have been happening here in Canada lately. Let's see here. Liberals are really, really hard pressed to try to get their budget passed, or are they? Now, I don't really have any full hard evidence. This is just a theory of mine, but I do believe that they are trying to get an election in the fall and blame it on the opposite parties because they would like to get their, as they always said, majority government. Well, fat chance to that happening over my dead body. Let's get down to question period, shall we? We got a lot to cover here today. And we're loading.
Oral questions, questions orales, the Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Banque Alimentaire Canada.
Food Banks Canada has published its report on 2025, their final report, and they report a 100% increase in the number of people needing food bank assistance since the Liberals took power. Last year, 39% experienced food insecurity, 53% skipped meals, 34% spent a whole day without eating, and 82% of households were not able to get enough food because of the Liberals' inflationist prices. How many more meals are Canadians going to miss because of this Prime Minister's upcoming budget? The Honourable Government House Leader. Food Banks Canada reports on 4 main factors to help solve the hunger problem in Canada. It's a lasting problem, and it requires a huge battle to overcome. There are people with disabilities. There's health, there's dental care, there's food school programs, and the National Housing Strategy. Those are all programs that they voted against that will help. And they've voted against every initiative we've undertaken to support the disadvantaged.
That helps no one.
Opposition Leader. Food Banks Canada, I'll paraphrase what they said, that it took decades to get 1 million people in the lineup for a food bank, but only 5 years to get up to 2 million clients in the lineup. So after 10 years of Liberal rule, there are now 700,000 children using food banks. The Liberal programs just feed bureaucracy, not children. Are they going to force Canadians to sacrifice even more? Now, the Honourable Secretary of State for Children and Youth. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I know that Canadians are dealing with challenges, and that's why the government is investing in Canadian families to help them get ahead. Thanks to the school food program, which we are making permanent, we will alleviate some of the pressures on Canadian families, also through dental care, our child care program, and the Canada Child Benefit. These are essential measures to ease the pressure on Canadian families. The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
released its report today, Hunger Count 2025, showing the number of Canadians relying on a food bank has more than doubled since this Liberal government took office. It shows that 39% of the population experienced food insecurity, 82% did not have enough to eat, 34% went an entire day without eating, 53% missed a meal to afford something else, 28% went hungry at least once a week. Now the Prime Minister says Canadians will have to make even more sacrifices. How many meals will Canadians have to sacrifice for yet another costly Liberal budget?
I ain't sacrificing shit no more. That I guarantee you.
Mr. Speaker, the Leader of the Opposition is good at throwing all of this stuff out. What he's not good at is reading what the groups on the ground actually have to say. Of course there are too many people living in poverty in Canada, but there are significant initiatives being put in place by this government, opposed by this Leader of the Opposition and his party, systematically evoked in the report from Food Banks Canada today, Mr. Speaker. We support these key assistance programs for Canadians. He votes against them and then dares to get up and criticize us for putting in place support for the weakest Canadians.
We don't need your assistance program because you're the reason why we...
Mr. Speaker, their programs do not feed kids. They feed bureaucracy, consultants, lobbyists, and Liberal insiders. And if you want to question that, 700,000 kids are lined up at food banks every single month. And let me quote from the report. It took decades to reach 1 million visits in any month, and it has now taken half a decade to more than double that. These are not outliers. This is Canada's new normal. The more government spends, the more things cost. How many meals will Canadian kids have to sacrifice for yet another costly Liberal budget?
If we didn't have such a Liberal government, we wouldn't need those programs.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. In fact, Canada's largest food bank in Toronto, the Daily Bread Food Bank, is asking that the National School Food Program be made permanent through legislation. And we are delivering this. They're asking because the program helps provide nutritious meals to 400,000 children at school. The Conservative Party voted against this. The members opposite will soon have an opportunity to do the right thing for their constituents and make school food permanent. We urge them to do so.
You think there's only 400,000 kids in Canada?
Speaker, these Liberal programs feed bureaucracy, lobbyists, consultants, and insiders, but they don't feed kids. Children cannot eat Liberal press releases or Liberal photo ops. Mothers cannot fill shopping carts with Liberal boasting. Canadians need food, and right now, after 10 years of this Liberal government, there's now 2.2 million Canadians lined up at food banks. 700,000 of them are kids, and a third are in families where they work, but their paychecks are vaporized by Liberal taxes and inflation. How many meals will Canadians have to sacrifice for the next costly Liberal budget?
The Honourable Minister of Housing and Infrastructure.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Well, the Leader of the Opposition seems to flat out ignore the fact that this government is focused on affordability. We are focused on affordable housing, which the reports outline as a critical driver for affordable food. We are taking action, Mr. Speaker. We look at the trajectory we are on right now. Mortgage rates are coming down. Average rents are coming down, according to the Parliamentary Budget Office. We're seeing progress, but we're not stopping there, Mr. Speaker. Build Canada homes will be in this budget, $13 billion that this opposition can vote for affordable housing in.
Where is anything coming down at?
Leader of the Opposition.
The focus is affordability. Mr. Speaker, here are the facts from the Hunger Count report. 78% of food banks had to buy more food than normal because they were running out and not collecting enough donations. 1/4 of food banks actually ran out of food while there are still people lined up waiting for something to eat. We now have nearly a third of Canadians who go hungry at least once a week. This sounds like something out of a Great Depression, and the Prime Minister has the audacity to say Canadians should sacrifice even more. How many meals will his costly budget force Canadians to sacrifice?
Lots of W's in the chat for Pierre.
Minister of Jobs and Family.
Mr. Speaker, I take it by the question of the Leader of the Official Opposition that he will support Budget 2025, where we make the school food program permanent, where we double down on jobs for young Canadians,
so kids can
where we
only
invest
eat in
skills
school?
training, for the skilled trades professionals of the future. Mr. Speaker, I just announced that in the budget, personal support workers will receive a tax credit of $1,100 a year. Mr. Speaker, we are putting money and support in the hands of Canadians, and that's why they trust us, Mr.
No, you're
Speaker.
putting money in your own pocket.
The honourable member for Saint Jean. Mr. Speaker, just this past weekend, the government blamed the opposition, complaining that there was a lack of support to get the budget passed. But just a friendly reminder, the people elected a minority government. That means the people wanted the government to work with the opposition to come to agreements. The government can come to agreements with the Conservatives or with us or with independent members. So instead of complaining and threatening elections, when are they going to get down to work? The Honourable Government House Leader. Mr. Speaker, of all the criticisms you could make about this government not working, I think not getting down to work is one of the furthest fetched criticisms. Now, there are 44 Quebec members elected on this side of the House who are working pretty darn hard, Mr. Speaker, for their communities and for people in their ridings and to meet the real needs out there in Quebec. The Bloc, it seems to me, is a bit slow to realize this with their 22 members. Yes, the Bloc is a minority. The honourable member for Saint Jean. Mr. Speaker, the Liberals don't even know what it means to work together for the common good. What they're saying is vote for our budget even though we have completely ignored Quebecers' needs. And then they're surprised when we tell them they need to get back to work. We're 1 week before November 4th. The Liberals are well aware of our demands around healthcare, seniors, housing, access to home ownership, infrastructure, and the reimbursement of the $800 million stolen from Quebecers. The real question is, do they want our support?
No, they want an election and then blame it on you guys.
Minister of Diversity and Canadian Culture. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Oh,
and I think I'll call for your assistance because we're having a lot of trouble understanding the Bloc's position. There was a meeting between the Prime Minister and the Bloc and the House Leader and the Finance Minister and myself, and they presented all their demands, and now they're saying they're not going to vote for the budget. So are they willing to negotiate? If so, we are too. But if they're not willing, you can't sit in the middle of two chairs like that. You can't have your cake and eat it too.
Go find the CN Tower.
Mirabel. Mr. Speaker, the Liberals met with party leaders about the budget when the budget had already been written. They didn't talk to Quebecers either. There were no pre-budget consultations. No witnesses were heard in committee. After a year and a half without a budget, the Liberals worked on their own without even meeting a single stakeholder from Quebec's socioeconomic communities. And then they're surprised when we tell them they're not meeting the needs of Quebecers. Mr. Speaker, the Liberals know what they need to do to get our support. The real question is, do they really want their budget to pass?
No, they don't. They want to blame it on you guys for it not passing.
Mr. Speaker, Canadians elected a new government 6 months ago.
It's not new. It's Trudeau
a government with a mandate to undertake major projects in Quebec and outside Quebec to work on the needs of our communities and to move ahead with projects that will create opportunities for our young people all across Quebec and Canada. Mr. Speaker, the question is, will the Bloc trigger an election at Christmas in 2025? Yes or no?
Member for Thornhill.
The Daily Bread Food Bank and the North York Food Bank in Toronto just released their annual report. It's called Who's Hungry? And it seems like the answer to that question is nearly everyone. 2.2 million visits in a single month. It took decades to hit 1 million and only half a decade under these Liberals to double it to more than 2 million. They found that 82% of households report they didn't have enough food to eat in this year. The majority said it was because of the cost of living. Every dollar that the government spends simply drives up food prices. It's over 4 million visits in Toronto. How many more people do they want visiting next year?
Yeah, way to go.
The Honourable Secretary of State
They
for
want all
Seniors.
30 million.
Mr. Speaker, this government has taken and continues to take real action that supports the people of Canada.
Have you really,
We have
though?
instituted the National Food Program. We have instituted the Canadian Dental Care Program. We have instituted a number of things that help Canadians, whereas the Conservatives can't be trusted to help anyone. They use this as a speaking point instead of really caring about Canadians and whether or not they have the resources they need. These programs help seniors. They help seniors across the country and ensure that they have what they need to retire with dignity, where the Conservatives push the retirement age higher.
You know, I remember when the Conservatives were in office,
Speaker, if any one
the
of
Canadian
those
dollar
programs worked, there
matched
wouldn't be over
the USA.
700,000 kids
Now
in
we have
line
poodle
at a food
papers
bank.
after 10 years of
Make
Liberal.
food cheaper. Instead, they doubled the deficit and they sent food bank usage up 360% in 5 years in Toronto. Students make up a quarter of those visits to food bank, and just last week, the Prime Minister lectured them all about making sacrifices. Well, they've already sacrificed home ownership, they've sacrificed good-paying jobs,
Yep.
and now he's asking them to sacrifice food. What will it take for the Prime Minister to make them, or what sacrifices will they need to make to stop this Prime Minister from his out-of-control spending?
none. Not going to sacrifice anything. We're getting
State for Children and Youth.
Thank you, Mr.
Fire to
Speaker.
the
The
Prime
report
Minister.
invoked also clearly states that to tackle these challenges, we need to strengthen supports to families. It specifically mentions delivering school food, dental care, childcare, and affordable housing at scale. Conservative MPs have voted against each of these measures. In fact, Conservative MP for Central Newfoundland called the National School Food Program garbage, even though it's already feeding 4,000 kids in his home province. We are focused on solutions and on delivering for Canadian families.
We don't need your program if we can be able to buy our own food to feed our own kids.
Food banks were meant for emergencies, not
Right.
everyday survival. Yet
Exactly.
more Canadians rely on them each month just to eat.
Right.
Families are working harder but falling further behind as groceries soar and paychecks shrink. This isn't
not
about
correct.
generosity, Mr. Speaker. It's about failure. As Food Banks Canada CEO Kristen Beardsley warns, there were 2.2 million food bank visits in a single month. The longer they ignore the reality on the ground, the deeper the crisis becomes. Mr. Speaker, when will this Liberal government realize their inflationary deficits are driving Canadians to the food bank?
They can't understand it because when you get a bunch of retards in office, they can't grasp that.
I assume the member of Parliament opposite was listening to my colleague when she was quoting Canada Food Banks about what needs to happen next, which is making the school nutrition program permanent, Mr. Speaker, investing in affordable houses, Mr. Speaker, ensuring that people have the supports that they need to live a comfortable life, Mr. Speaker, including affordable child care and dental care. And, Mr. Speaker, that's what we're going to do, and we sure hope they don't vote against Canadians again.
I swear to God, man, my intelligence is going down every time I hear a Liberal talk.
Lennox and Addington, Tyendinaga.
We keep sounding the alarm, but it feels like no one on that side is listening, Mr. Speaker. Families are stretched thin and communities are breaking under the weight of rising costs.
Maybe none of them
One
speak
food bank
English.
executive said it plainly. Housing and food costs are the greatest contributors to the increase in our services. Costs for basic living continue to rise while the money coming in does not. When will this government finally hear the voices of Canadians and stop letting hidden taxes, packaging taxes, and the industrial carbon tax drive families to the food bank?
Well, you know what they say, they can't teach an old Liberal new tricks.
Mr. Speaker, well, again, the member opposite did connect the dots between housing costs and food costs, and that's why this government is so laser focused on affordable housing. And we are seeing action on this. We're seeing progress to date. We've seen average rents come down across Canada. We're seeing mortgage rates come down. We're seeing home prices come down to make life more affordable. We're cutting taxes for 22 million Canadians and first-time homebuyers. All of those measures are delivering results, and we aren't stopping there, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable member for Quebec, Mactaquac.
Mr. Speaker, Food Banks Canada reports 2.2 million visits in a single month, double what it was just 6 years ago. Their CEO says poverty and hunger have become the new normal in Canada. Working Canadians, from construction crews to office staff, are having to stop by food banks on their way home from work. In rural Canada, where food and fuel already cost more and jobs are often seasonal, families are being hit hardest. When will the Prime Minister admit his inflationary deficits are driving Canadians to food banks instead of grocery stores and change course?
The Honourable Secretary of State for Financial Institutions.
Mr. Speaker, it's hard to listen to the party opposite talk about
Oh, there's
affordability
a guy that puffs
when
his
they
chest out.
voted
Wang
against
Long.
every single affordability measure this government has put forward. Whether it's the Canada Child Benefit, whether it's daycare, whether it's the school food program, which is not garbage, whether it's housing. Mr. Speaker, we're focused on making affordability.
I just had to pause it for a second there, guys. I had a little issue there with my child I had to take care of. Oh, what the hell now? What did I do now? Can somebody tell me what I did? I don't even think I clicked on anything. Hello? My God, I paused the video for 2 seconds to take care of my child and everything goes glitchy. Okay, there we go. Now we're back. Okay, let's continue off where we left off here. By the way, on our next clip, we have another little video here with Carnival Carney. And he's got a speech there. And I just want you guys to know that there'll be a couple of questions asked about, you know, his dealings with Trump and the fact about that ad that came out there with Ronald Reagan. Carney actually, and this was Ford, you can actually find it, there's a couple of videos on it. Ford actually admitted to Carney approving the ad. So Carney already knew the ad was going to be done. Carney knew the relationship and the so-called dealings they had there and the progress they were making it was going to turn into basically a shit show. He knew that. But why did he do that? Because the Liberals are trying to call for an election and they want to blame it on the opposition. So that when we're called to the polls, the Liberals are going to turn it around and go, oh, it's the Conservatives, it's the Bloc, it's the NDP that aren't supporting us. When really, all the Conservatives, the Bloc, and I'm not going to say NDP, but maybe now, considering they're leaderless, thank God, are actually trying to work for the people, right? These Liberals should never have been back in office. I mean, these are Trudeau leftovers. Like, everybody hates Trudeau. But yet, everybody kind of forgives him now for the mess that he created. You know, when Pierre called out the RCMP for not doing their job, he was correct to do that. Hell, I appreciate him for doing that. Right? I've already stated that. I mean, the guy is gone off to America. I don't care. You know what? Good riddance. Stay there. But he doesn't. But, you know, anyways, they don't want us. We're supposed to be boycotting America, right? Like, get this. We're supposed to boycott American products. We're supposed to boycott going to America. What does Trudeau do when he leaves office? He goes to America to start dating Katy Perry, which for the life of me, I cannot understand what is up with that woman. Like, what is wrong with that woman's head? Like, honestly, she needs to get her head examined. If I could, I'd schedule her for a CAT scan right now because there is something seriously wrong with that woman for even going with that guy. But I mean, getting off topic, I hate hate's not a strong enough word, but I do. I detest the Trudeau Liberals, right? We're not left. We don't have a new government. We're left with leftovers from Trudeau era. Everybody didn't like Trudeau. But yet they all did what Trudeau wanted. They voted for his chief executive advisor, Carnival Carney, who's also responsible for the shit show that's going on here for the last 10 years. It's basically like Star Wars reference, okay? For people that don't watch or have watched Star Wars, sorry. If you watch Star Wars, Trudeau's like a very flamboyant Darth Vader. And I hate to say that because Darth Vader's a cool character and I don't want to gum him up with Trudeau. But anyways, he's like a very flamboyant Darth Vader. Okay? And Carnival Carney he's like the emperor with bad teeth. Okay? Like, you ever see his teeth? His teeth look like they were grinded down. Like, they're pretty bad. Like, when you watch him smile, he's got no teeth. Okay? They're like grinded down, or there's something wrong with him, or he got tooth decay. I don't know. I don't care. I just don't want to ever see the guy smile again. So we all voted for the chief executive clown, Carnival Carney. Well, we didn't all vote. I didn't vote for him, but more than half the country voted for him because that's apparently why he's in office. The problem now is they don't have a majority government. The Liberals want a majority. So how do they get a majority? They're using this whole hoopla, okay, I'm not making any headway with Trump. My election is, at stake here. Let's pull another win out of our asses, not get the budget supported, go for an election, fool a bunch of Canadians again, and hopefully we get a majority. Well, I got news for you. As God is my witness, I will follow this through and through. And I am going to make sure that never happens. All right, let's get back.
For 22 million Canadians, we are cutting the GST for first-time homebuyers. Mr. Speaker, on this side of the House, we believe in supporting the most vulnerable in our society. They don't. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The honourable member for Mégantic-L'Érable-Lotbinière. Montreal is going hungry. That's what La Presse says. It's a gloomy picture of the state of finances of Canadian families after 10 years of Liberal rule. 600,000 people in Quebec depend on food banks, and all across Canada, it's over 2 million people per month using food banks. The trend accelerated after 10 years of inflationary Liberal spending. 33% are children. It's almost 2 times as many. Is the Prime Minister going to call on Canadians to make even more sacrifices? The Honourable Minister. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Food inflation is a global phenomenon which is much more complex than the simplistic slogans of the Conservatives. The big difference between them and us is that here on this side, we believe governments should provide support against inflation to help the middle and lower class families. That's what we're doing with our school food program, with dental care, with child care. And this is going to make a significant difference in the lives of Quebecers. The Conservatives, last week, one of them said it was garbage. That's the difference between Conservatives and Liberals.
Yeah, Liberals. You will own nothing and be happy.
Mr. Speaker, that government claims that they're supporting against inflation, but they're actually creating inflation. And that's why Food Banks Canada's final report for 2025 says that this has become the new normal in Canada, to go to the food bank.
It is.
Under this Liberal government.
It is.
25% of users have jobs, 8% are seniors, 23% are dual-parent families. What's the Prime Minister waiting for? When's he going to stop the inflationary spending that's pushing more and more Canadians to the food banks?
Liberal government, you will own nothing and be
Parliamentary
happy.
Secretary. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. This report clearly indicates that in order to meet the challenge, we need to strengthen our supports to families, and the Conservatives have opposed every step we've taken to support Canadian
Good,
families.
And I hope they oppose more.
And in fact, the Conservative member
Nothing good
called
comes
the
from
program, the food school program, called it garbage. One Conservative member said that. And even though Food Banks is calling for us to make it permanent, which we will do, we will continue to support Canadian families. The honourable member for Jonquière. Mr. Speaker, on Saturday, Donald Trump announced an additional 10% tariff for our forestry industry. That's in addition to the 10% we've already been paying since October 14th, and 35% countervailing duties that already existed. So that's 55% in tariffs and duties. It's clear Washington wants to crush our industry. We need a rescue plan, including financial support and wage supports to protect jobs. And we need that now. 55%, Mr. Speaker. What more is it going to take for this government to act?
I thought Carney was going to deal with Trump. He was the only guy who could handle Trump.
Canada-U.S. trade. Mr. Speaker, obviously the government is still open to resuming our trade talks with the Americans, but our colleague referred to certain increases, potential increases to tariffs. I think we need to be careful. Before that's made official, we shouldn't jump to the conclusion that a certain amount of tariffs will be imposed. But we do fully share the members' concern about the future for workers and for the forestry industry, as we are also concerned about other industries. We will continue to support those workers and industries. The honourable member for Jonquière. Mr. Speaker, talk is one thing, action is another. The forestry was already at a breaking point before the announcement of new tariffs on Saturday. It's the hardest hit industry by Washington, and yet the financial aid announced by the Liberals in August